But at 2 meters 10, that's 6 feet of 11. One of the most aggressive and electrifying blockers on the 2015 FIVB World Tour. You got to watch carefully with these Brazilians, Dane. They play hard, they play aggressive, they play mean beach volleyball.
Well, they do, and they want to get the crowd behind them. There's always Brazilians in the crowd, no matter what country they come to. But I'll tell you what, this is almost like a finals on the FIVB, but it's happening in the round of 16.
Casey Patterson gets this round of 16 match underway for the United States of America. Lovely little tip ball from Patterson's teammate Jake Gibb gives the Americans the first point on the board.
Remember, the Americans, they play traditionally what is the pattern where you have a full-time blocker and a full-time defender. You see Jake Gibb at the net all the time. The Brazilians, both of them are true blockers. Remember, you said Evandro, 210 centimeters. You think he'd be the full-time blocker, but he and Pedro actually switch off, and Pedro will play defense sometimes, he'll block sometimes, and Evandro will do the same. But it's very interesting seeing that 6'11" frame playing defense in the backcourt.
Good, powerful jump serve. Oh, that's just a little disappointing for Casey Patterson there. Just caught slightly out of position. Give Brazil the early lead.
Remember, these two teams matched up in Moscow just a few months ago, and it was the Brazilians winning 17-15 in the third set. So they match up really well.
Oh, and that's a second error at the net for Casey Patterson, much to his frustration. Dane, in the early point exchanges here, I want to chat a little bit about the rivalry between the South Americans of Brazil, the North Americans of the United States of America. It goes deep into the heart of this sport.
Well, it really does. Every time you step on the court and it's an American team versus the Brazilian duo, it is a battle. I don't care if it's men, if it's women. It's a deep rivalry because the sport was basically invented in the United States, but the Brazilians are known for their great volleyball and their great soccer. So it is a deep rivalry. All the players understand when you step on the court and you're playing Brazil and you're American, you better bring your A game because they're going to bring their A game, and it means a lot.
It really is like a special code when these two teams meet. At any point in the competition, it's just a scalp for America, it's just a scalp for Brazil. And of course, with Brazil hosting the 2016 Summer Olympic Games on Copacabana Beach, again, that's where the Americans want to go and scalp the Brazilians on their home patch. Better work at the net for Patterson. Oh, again, great dig from Casey. Oh, but he doesn't quite get the tip ball. And the Brazilians draw 3 clear.
Casey's a little bit off his game right now. We've already seen him put 3 balls actually into the net. He digs that, he gets a set here, he gets a little too cute with it, trying to go short, and that ball does not clear the net. So a little lack of focus early on by the Americans. They're gonna have to turn things around right now if they're going to put up a fight against these strong Brazilians.
Pedro Salgado, the 29-year-old out of Rio de Janeiro, puts the ball into the American court. Here's Patterson on the attack for the USA. And just off the taping of the net, takes the ball out of play. 4 points clear now, Brazil. Starting to get a good rhythm going in this first set.
Brazil trying to be as aggressive as possible, and they have found their target. And right now, it's Casey Patterson. He's had some unforced errors, so they're going to continue to serve him.
And at last, he gets that cross-court spike down. That'll help his confidence a little.
Yeah, he looks a little shaken. I usually don't see Casey Patterson play like this. Looks maybe a little timid. I hope he's all right. He's usually a very aggressive player, very charismatic, and very emotional.
Oh, good shot from Gonzalez. He too looking to get the crowd up and on their feet here. And Evandro there. A little bit of help from the net once again.
Here you know he has to go cross-court because of the antenna, but Patterson does not make the adjustment and doesn't slide in.
Evandro it is with service for Brazil. Good call from the American team. Big, powerful serve from Evandro. If that one just dips a little sooner, it will take some return. Gibb with service for the United States of America. Pedro Salgado, little tip ball too far.
And that's what the Americans need. They need to put a little pressure, make the Brazilians maybe have some unforced errors. But there's a little wrap on Casey Patterson's left ankle. I'm not sure if that's a new injury, that's something that might have happened this weekend, but for some reason, Casey Patterson just doesn't look himself.
Oh, well, Jake Gibb is having a great opening set here. Excellent block at the net for the 39-year-old American from Costa Mesa in California.
Jake, one of the best blockers in the world, has great technique at 6'7".
Oh, that was unlucky for Jake Gibb at the net there.
But they'll take it. You know, they're kind of climbing and clawing their way back into this one, just down by 2 points right now. And that is not bad considering the start they had with those 3 unforced errors, just being down by 2. So when you play bad and you end up still in the mix, you feel very fortunate.
Here's Patterson attacking for the USA. Good play. Well read by the American. He'll be happy with that. Experienced players, 35, 39 years of age, Gibb and Patterson. They know the drill, Dane. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no question about it. And there you see Casey Patterson with a nice little roll shot. Beautiful serve right there. The Brazilians in trouble.
Good play from both sides here. Patterson looks to finish it for the United States of America. Clever play. Well, both sides making some brilliant saves there to keep the ball up. America coming out on top.
United States really hanging in there on this rally with a few opportunities to put it away. Finally, the nice finesse roll shot by Casey Patterson over Pedro at the net.
Patterson, just a little dig of the sand to check the wind direction. Oh, right on the tape of the net, but falls the wrong side for America and gives Brazil a 1-point advantage at 9-8.
Evandro back to serve. Last week we saw him in the bronze medal match absolutely catch fire with his serve.
Oh, lovely shot from Patterson there.
There goes Casey, starting to get into it. You can see he's clapping it out, trying to get the crowd involved. Finally gets a real powerful, nice hit, what we're accustomed to seeing from him. So he's starting to get in his comfort zone here on center court.
Gibb with service. Oh, that was very fortunate for the Brazilians. 1 or 2 would have called that in.
Yeah, I was mentioning last week, Evandro and Pedro took down Theo Brunner and Nick Lucena in that bronze medal match in the World Championships. And I'll tell you what, they played spectacular. A little bang-bang play right there. And Patterson, right place at the right time.
Well, you make a good point, Dane. Both of these teams are starting to hit peak form at the halfway point of the season. Of course, the Americans winning the St. Petersburg Grand Slam last month, and the Brazilians taking the bronze at the recent World Championships in The Hague and winning the last round of the beach volleyball major series in Stavanger, Norway. Evandro sets for... Oh, great block at the net from Jake Gibb.
Wow, huge jump into the angle of Pedro, stuffs it straight down. Line judge calls it in immediately. Pedro says that ball's out. Here comes the hit, and there it lands. I believe it hit right on the line. So point for the United States, and they are starting to feel that comfort zone. They're starting to step up their game. They started a little shaky. I don't know what you would call it. I don't think it'd be nerves because they've been in this position many a time. But sometimes you get out there on the opening whistle and things just aren't going your way. You got to play yourself into it, and that seems to be what the Americans are doing right now.
That's a very good point, Dane. I think that they started off maybe a little nervous maybe got caught by the emotion of seeing Kerry Walsh-Jennings having to forfeit her semi. And this is the area that we're not quite sure about. Is that a recent injury, or is that an old injury that's just been taped up and strapped up for protection? We thought that may be an issue for Patterson in the early exchanges, but he's found a very tasty rhythm right now. And I have to say, for me, Dane, the Americans are looking the more positive and collected of the four on court right now. I know you're going to say you never can tell with the Brazilians, but I think America have played their way back into the first half of this match with skill.
No question about it, but you're right. Look out for the Brazilians, because Evandro is a scoring machine. He's an effective offensive attacker, as you see right there. He blasts that ball, but more importantly, he can stuff balls at the net and get runs of points as a blocker and as a server. I was mentioning earlier how effective he was serving in the bronze medal match a week ago in the World Championships. He basically served Nick Lucena and Theo Brunner off the court.
And I think you put all of that into the melting pot. He's only 24 years of age. Definitely one of the young rising stars from the men's tour, with Pedro Salgado, the experienced partner, alongside him, coaching him along the way. Gibb with the service for the United States of America. Pedro Salgado puts that one away to tie the scores at 12 apiece. Very evenly match, these two teams at this point in the first set.
They really are, but you know the Brazilians, especially Pedro, loves to feed off the crowd, and he hasn't been able to get the crowd involved at all. In that department, I'd have to say Casey Patterson is ahead of the game. He's got the crowd a little bit behind him. He's been clapping it out and so celebrating his successes, whereas the Brazilians just really quiet, kind of going about their business. I don't think that's the best way for them to play. They like to play with emotion.
Casey Patterson with service for the USA, 35-year-old from Huntington Beach, California. Here is Evandro on the attack. Oh, he's so tall, has such a powerful arm motion. So tough to stop those.
Well, he reminds me of a young Phil Dahlhauser. Very much like the American. He's a very tall player, has a rocket of a serve, has a beautiful block at the net, and has some nice hands in terms of setting as well.
Here's Patterson on the attack for the USA. Oh, great shots. Pedro Salgado was tempted to take it on the second ball, but wisely makes an excellent set for Evandro, who puts it away here, as we see in slow motion. Patterson has no answer for that one.
Yeah, just out of reach there. He lines up in the angle, but the sharpness of that hit by Evandro is just too good.
Oh, the power of the serve takes it the right side of the net. And look at Salgado. As you said, Dane, both of these Brazilian players can block, and block with real skill and speed.
Yeah, great save by Patterson, and then he comes in, tries to overpower the 6'4" Pedro, but he gets denied, and it goes right back. And there's the emotion you got to watch out from the Brazilians. They thrive off it. Pedro especially. You can't allow him to get in the game emotionally, because it gives him too much of an edge.
The Brazilians draw two clear at a crucial part of this first set. 15-13, Evandro serves the ball to Patterson. Gibb sets for his teammate, Casey Patterson. This time he gets the better of Pedro Salgado at the net. Important side out for the Americans.
Yeah, very important. At this point, things start to tighten up a little bit. The great teams start to step up to the plate, so every point matters right now. And we're keeping an eye on that ankle of Casey Patterson, and to see how mobile he is. He's been walking around a little gingerly so far.
Pedro Salgado. Oh, again, I have to say, Jake Gibb is having a sensational match at the net. Ties the score at 15-all.
Look at this late move, jumping huge into the angle and pressing over with that left hand. That is textbook blocking. He deceives Pedro and stuffs him down.
And it's Gibb with service for the USA. Serving Evandro. Evandro now on the attack for Brazil. Oh, Jake Gibb is there again.
Wow, Jake Gibb looks extremely strong at the net. So deceptive. Look, he lines up in the line, and then the huge jump to the right to block Evandro. He just did it the opposite side to Pedro, and the Brazilians have seen enough. They do not like what they see at the net with Jake Gibb blocking and celebrating. They're going to be forced right now to think it over and burn their timeout.
Back-to-back blocks from Jake Gibb forced the Brazilians to call a timeout as the United States of America take the lead 16-15 in this opening set.
Those are some huge blocking moves. I always talk about technical blockers. You don't have to be the biggest blocker, but if you're technically sound, you can really cause some problems for other players at the net. Jake Gibb, of course, 6'7", so he's a pretty big player. Pedro Salgado, on the other hand, only 6'4", but he's a solid blocker as well. Both these guys, great technical blockers. As you saw the deception, Gibb waiting in the line, looking like he's going to block the line, fooling the offensive player on the other side of the net, and doing that last-minute big jump into the angle has worked to claim the last 2 points. So right now, all the momentum on the side of the Americans.
Let's see if they can keep that momentum going here. Jake Gibb with service for the USA. Serves to Pedro Salgado. A set from Evandro. Pedro Salgado, the little tip ball. Good save by Gibb. Patterson takes it on the second. Pedro Salgado again. Oh, Jake Gibb almost makes it 3 out of 3. Not quite. Brazil tie the scores at 16-all.
Wow. I'll tell you what, Jake Gibb made a great control block, set his partner, Casey Patterson, and that's where I believe Casey doesn't have the explosion right now. Here comes the set. Casey comes in 9 times out of 10. He's going to put that ball away. That time he can't. So Brazil, they get that point to lock it up at 16.
Pedro Salgado with service. Gibb sets Patterson. Cross court right to the corner of the Brazilian end. United States of America take the lead once again. Good side out for USA. Patterson now at the back of the court to serve. Good shot from Pedro Salgado. 17-all. This is where you need to keep the focus now. We really are at the business end of set 1.
Nice little roll shot. And remember, we mentioned how even these teams are when they played in Moscow. It was Brazil winning 27-25, losing 13-21, and then winning in the third 17-15. So these two teams have battled before.
Oh, is that an ace? Right down the middle. No, a little long. Oh.
Location was on point. Perfect location, but just a little bit long. You saw both American players were frozen, looking at one another. Fortunately for the United States, that ball lands about 6 inches long.
Jake Gibb with service for the United States of America. 39-year-old out of California. Nice little float serve to Pedro Salgado. Here he comes again, looking to finish it. Does just that.
Really solid hit by Pedro. Not sure what he is talking to the head referee about right there. Put the ball away. It'll be Brazilians' point, 18-all. Maybe he wasn't happy with the way something went in that last rally, but could not detect what it was.
All square. Pedro Salgado again with service for Brazil. Patterson sets the ball up for Gibb to attack. Oh, no. Evandro doesn't make it. Good shot from Patterson right to the body of Salgado.
Pedro knew he had a great opportunity to make a play there. Disappointed with himself for not executing.
Oh, that's disappointing for Patterson. Brave attempt at going for the powerful jump serve.
I like that idea, going for it right down the middle, but at this point, you gotta try to keep that one in.
Evandro serves for Brazil. He too goes for the real powerhouse jump serve. Patterson now for the US. Oh, great work from Casey Patterson to give Team USA the set point.
This is the weakest rotation for Brazil, I believe, with Pedro at the net, Evandro playing defense. He's not that quick in the backcourt. If I was Brazil, at least 2/3 of the time, I would leave Evandro at the net and have Pedro play defense.
Jake Gibb sets the ball to Pedro Salgado. Salgado levels the scores.
Well, he just assured that we are going into overtime here in set number 1. Remember, we played at 21, but you have to win by a 2-point advantage, so there is no cap. Remember, the first time these two teams played in the first set, it went 27-25.
We could be here for a while.
Powerful hit. Casey Patterson making it happen right there. A very important point for them to take the advantage by 1.
Set point for the Americans. Need to, of course, wrap it up by 2 clear points. Patterson serves, a float serve, very low to the front of the court. Evandro levels the scores again, 21-21. Side switch.
Beautiful hit by Evandro right down the alley. Look at Jake Gibb jump into the angle. That means the line's open. And what does he do? He just bangs the ball too quick for Casey Patterson to get there in time.
Evandro with service. Oh, what a serve! Spectacular.
That's what I'm talking about. You just never know when the young Evandro will strike. He's got one of the best serves on tour. That ball never even goes up. The trajectory is flat with topspin and it goes down. You have to almost play defense when you're receiving serve. And you see there's the emotion by Evandro as the Americans are forced to call a timeout.
Oh.
Hello. Hello. Water. Cold water. Water's hot.
Looking for water out there. The Brazilians, so important to hydrate. We're talking about the weather being ideal for beach volleyball, but it's very important that you stay hydrated with these tournaments. You're playing a lot of matches. You're out in the sun a long time. And if you wait too long to where cramps start to come on, you feel dehydrated, it's too late at that time. And all these athletes know. That's why you hear Pedro making sure that he's got enough water in the tank, especially for his big man, Evandro.
Well, for the first time in this first set, it is set ball for the Brazilians. Will Evandro go for one of those big, super powerful jump serves? Or will he try and trick the Americans and just float it short? Oh, he's done it again! That is the way to wrap up the first set. 23-21, Brazil get the better of the United States in the opener with 2 sensational serves from Evandro to secure that set. What a finale. Putting the heat on the Americans, they now must win the second.
The Americans did everything they could. They called the timeout after that big first serve, tried to break the rhythm, and they broke it a little bit because he clips the top of the net. Unfortunately for the Americans, that ball rolls over the net, is unplayable. Another ace, chalk it up for Evandro, but that's what I was talking about. You don't know when this Brazilian duo can strike, and they can strike in bunches. 2, 3, 4 points at a time. So you're never safe no matter what lead you have.
It's only a matter of time before we measure the speed of some of these serves on the FIVB World Tour. And when those statistics start to come into play, I think we'll all find that it is a frightening speed that the likes of Evandro send that ball to his opponents.
When a guy's serving that hard, I remember some great servers when I was playing, you'd have to get into a defensive set, basically, and pretend you're playing defense as if he's hitting at the net. The ball's coming that fast and at such a low trajectory. The Americans are going to have to really control that serve if they're going to win here in set 2.
Well, just to show the Brazilians that they too can take an ace or two. What the perfect start that is for Team USA. Casey Patterson puts an ace down with his first serve of the second set.
That's the way you turn the tables on the Brazilians. Give them a little of their own medicine to start the second set.
Oh, and another beautiful score. This time, great work at the net from Jake Gibb to take the Americans 2 clear.
An ace serve and a block. You couldn't ask for a better start in set 2. Jake Gibb has really been hovering at the net, making a lot of things happen. That's his 3rd block for him on the match. Ooh, it's close. Americans going to try to dispute, but it looks like the play has been called and there will be no overruling. See, I don't like that when the line judge steps away like that, like the ball's going to hurt him or something. You got to stay there, keep your eye on the ball, and don't flinch, because it's important that that call is made and that it's made well.
Evandro serves just a little too deep, out of play. The USA maintain their 2-point advantage, 3-1. Jake Gibb at the back of the court for the American team with service. Serves to Pedro Salgado, who's now on the attack for Brazil. Good cross-court shot there from the Brazilian. And a side out for Brazil.
Pedro Salgado, such a versatile player. He's got a lot of heat when he wants to. Look at the range, reaching high, cutting that ball sharp.
Wonderful dig from Pedro Salgado, who finishes it off to tie the scores. Good play from the Brazilians.
Nice shot by Salgado, but a great fake block by Jake. Look at him fake like he's blocking, drop off the net, and then the high roll shot. Jake yelling for Casey to go, but maybe his mobility a little bit limited because of that left ankle. Oh, look at that bounce. Hits it cross court as if Evandro is not even at the net. So Casey Patterson says, take that right there with a big bomb from the left side. Look at Patterson pass the ball well, get a nice approach, and then just thunder that ball. It hits a nice divot, gets some nice elevation off the bounce.
Well, he nearly sent it out of the court there. That was a sensational spike from the American. And Patterson is with service. Brazil hold on to the lead at 4-3. Oh, there's Jake Gibb at the net again. Read Evandro's shot to perfection, timed it to perfection, and the USA go too clear.
Jake Gibb has been an absolute beast at the net right now, owning this entire match, controlling every single hit.
Oh, just caught out of position there, Patterson. Good shot from Pedro Salgado.
Beautiful roll shot, basically froze Patterson. He had to try to do a 360 to recover, but couldn't get there in time.
Evandro with service for Brazil. And again, this power jump serve. Oh, but this time Patterson, the master of the net.
Looked like Pedro tried to take that ball two-handed and push it, which is not a legal play, but let's check it out here. The big serve and the overpass, and then Pedro pushing, but Jake Gibb and Patterson say not just yet.
Oh, and that's too hard. Not quite the right timing for Evandro. Oh, it was good. My mistake. Ball was given good. Point back for the Brazilians. From Pedro Salgado.
Nice hit right there, down the alley, right to the ground. Playing with fire there, Jake Gibb has to be very precise, going around Evandro, inside the antenna, and the ball just hits the outside of the line.
Casey Patterson serves for America, too clear of Brazil. They need to win the second set. Pedro Salgado spots the opening cross court, pulls one of those 2 points back.
Vision by Pedro Salgado right there, coming in looking like he's going to hit, and that's what a good hitter does. They look like they're going to hit, and then they shoot the ball and deceive.
Look for this power serve from Evandro. Oh. And Patterson does so well to control that ball and then gives Evandro a bit of his own medicine to keep that 2-point advantage on the side of the Americans.
A lot of heat out there. You're seeing the aggression on both sides. The big serve by Evandro, and then Casey says, well, you got a big serve. Why don't you take that, Evandro? He goes right at him, challenges him to dig the ball, but Evandro, defense not his specialty, can't handle it.
Here's Jake Gibb with service for the USA. Nice float serve deep to Evandro. Pedro Salgado sets for his teammate, and Jake Gibb is the master of the net in this second set.
I got 5 blocks for Jake Gibb so far in this match. 3 here in the second set. Look at him wait, get up, and look at that left hand reach out and push back into the court so he's not tooled out of bounds. Great court sense right there by Jake Gibb. He is reading the Brazilians like a book.
Could be a repeat here. Oh, off the fingertips. Well saved by Patterson. And that's too long.
Touch on the block. Unfortunate for the American, because that ball was waffled out of bounds. Jake Gibb must have just barely touched it. Look at Casey Patterson. Set Jake. It goes over the net. Gives Brazil an opportunity. Evandro mishits it, but it hits Jake Gibb attempting to block on the way out.
Pedro Salgado, service for Brazil. Serves to Patterson. Patterson now on the attack. This time, Evandro's working well at the net. Evandro up against Gibb. Evandro is there. Tallest man on the court by quite a margin at 2 meters 10. And leaving no room for Jake Gibb to get through.
Second block by Evandro is a winner as he presses over, pushes down. He's such a target at the net. So hard to get around.
Here's Patterson on the attack for the USA. Well read by Pedro Salgado. Can he finish it for Brazil? Set from Gibb to Patterson. Oh, great play from both teams here. But running forward to try and make the shot. Evandro mistimes it, and the Americans go too clear.
Fortunate for the Americans, Evandro doesn't hit many balls into the net here. Here comes Patterson, a nice roll shot. It's read by Evandro, and then there's the set, but the ball drops just at the last second, and Evandro airs into the net, and Jake Gibb knows how important that one is. You can see the enthusiasm in that body language.
Brazil calling the timeout.
Let's see Pedro Salgado breathing a little heavy right there. They're having to work hard for each and every point. All four of these athletes really bringing in. They know how important it is if they win this round of 16 and can advance to the quarterfinals. A lot of Olympic qualifying points on the line. And remember, both the Brazilian and the American contingent have so many teams vying for those valuable 2 spots in the Olympics. So points always a huge factor in terms of positioning and which team will make it into those top 2 teams. Right now, Evandro and Pedro looking good for the Olympics, as well as Jake Gibb and Casey Patterson.
Good service right down the middle, splitting the Brazilian players. Patterson sets for Jake Gibb. Good shot from the Americans.
Yeah, kind of tooled the block right in between. Looked like it was going to be blocked on the American side, but somehow Jake Gibb got it through, and they go 3 clear. A nice lead right now. The question is, can they keep it?
Patterson with service. Serves at Pedro Salgado, who now looks to finish it for Brazil. Oh, Jake Gibb again. Puts the Americans 4 clear. They have to win this second set, and right now, you wouldn't want to bet against them.
No, the Americans playing really high level. And look at Jake Gibb. He is reading. He's done his homework. He knows where the Brazilians are going, it looks like, before even they do.
Oh, look at that for a spike down the alley from Evandro. Such power this man has.
Such a risky hit. Not a lot of room for error, but he executes it perfectly, landing that ball exactly on the line.
Technical timeout as the total score for the points reaches 21. A little bit of a breather again for both the teams here, but the Americans, who have to win this second set to stay in the match, so far looking good.
You always have to watch out for that Brazilian duo. Like I said, they can strike in bunches of points at any moment. So the United States needs to continue to stay consistent. I'd like to see them continue to serve tough, maybe even tougher, get the Brazilians out of sync a little more, but they've been doing a great job so far. They've made the adjustment from the first set to the second set and have come out much sharper, much more aggressive, and that's how they built this 3-point lead.
America 12, Brazil 9 in the second set. Brazil have already wrapped up the first, and the Americans need to keep their momentum flowing here to stay in this match. To earn a spot in the quarterfinals. The big man on court at 2 meters 10 or 6 feet 11, Evandro of Brazil with service. Drills it right to the feet of Patterson, and who smashes it back at Evandro. Oh, great power play from both sides, but America coming out on top.
Yeah, Evandro better put his helmet on right now. That ball's coming in hot. That's the second time that Casey Patterson has picked off the big Brazilian in that defensive set. So Patterson targeting Evandro and getting the best of him.
Lovely revenge shot there. Now, at the back of the American court, it's Jake Gibb with service. Oh, Jake Gibb again. Spectacular play.
Wow, 7 stuff blocks for big Jake Gibb of the United States in this match. And he has earned every one of them. It's not like they're trying to power right through him. He's making great blocking moves at the last minute and really tricking the Brazilians.
Float service from Jake Gibb, who's enjoying such a great game at the net. He does it again. Oh, is the ball up? No, the point is given to the Americans. 15-9.
He stuffed that ball so quickly, it hits Evandro, and then he can't play a second contact. Here it is, blocked off of him. That's the first contact. He can't hit the ball a second time in a row, so it's a violation. Another stuff by Jake Gibb.
Well, a change of tactical plan for play from the Brazilians. America still 5 clear here. They need to keep this rhythm and point-scoring roll going. It's a better shot, I have to say, from Evandro.
Well, the Brazilians getting smarter as the match goes on, knowing that you can't power through Jake Gibb up at the net.
Patterson at the net now. The ball is still up. Oh, great save from Patterson. Can he finish it? This time Salgado has the great save, and the ball's still up here. And it's gone. Oh, but was there a touch of the arm from Patterson? Yes, there was.
Patterson should have dug that ball. He tried it one-handed instead of getting that other hand on the ball to control it, and it goes out of bounds. What a spectacular rally. Look at this set by Evandro off the court. Puts it in a nice area, and there's that one-hand attempt. He's got to get the other arm there so he can control that situation.
Pedro Salgado serves Patterson. Patterson on the attack. Good shot. Very important side out for the Americans there to maintain their 5-point advantage and keep that march forwards. They have to take the second set to stay in the match, remember.
Evandro trying to fake block and drop off the net, but Casey Patterson having none of it.
It is Patterson with service, serving Evandro. Pedro Salgado sets Evandro, and there he is again, Jake Gibb. Superb block.
9 blocks for Jake Gibb. Casey Patterson talking to the ref. That ball came out spinning. That's set by Pedro, and the Americans weren't happy, but Jake Gibb times that just perfectly, throws the ball back on the Brazilian side, and the Americans in complete control.
17-11. Patterson serves Evandro. Pedro Salgado sets for the big tall Brazilian. Reads that shot perfectly. Patterson just a little out of position there, a little frustrated with himself, but the 5-point buffer is still there for the Americans.
Yeah, I think that frustration you're seeing is his lack of mobility due to that left ankle. He just doesn't look quite himself. He's not getting that explosive power that I'm used to seeing from Casey Patterson.
Evandro with the big power jump serve. Set from Gibb to Patterson. Tip ball. It's out of play. 13-17. Evandro will serve again for Brazil.
Americans have to watch out here because remember, the Brazilians can strike in bunches of points. They need to stop the momentum right now.
This man put 2 aces down to take the first set. That helps the American side out. 5 clear again at 18-13, and they just need to switch side out for side out now to take this second set, Team USA. Jake Gibb with service.
Just out of bounds. The Brazilians just kind of watched that one, thinking it was for sure out of bounds. They were right, but it was, I think, a lot closer than they expected.
Good score. Patterson spike off the fingers of Evandro, and then out of play. Takes the Americans just a few points away from taking this second set.
Challenges the big Evandro and splits the uprights right there with a nice hit.
Good service from Patterson. Pedro Salgado, tip ball. Side out for side out, as predicted. But if the Americans can keep their momentum here, they're in a very strong position to stay in this round of 16 match.
Yeah, the Brazilians cannot afford to go side out for side out, or this one's going to be over. They need to make a move now.
Oh, and look at the mark. We can see just a little too long. Side switch. Valuable point pulled back by Brazil. 3 behind the USA. A little frustrating that for Patterson.
Patterson trying to hit that deep corner. Looks like he's going to get it, but it just goes 3 inches long. Point Brazil.
Evandro with service. Right at his feet. Patterson does well to keep it up. Oh, and another mistake. Lapse in concentration from the American, Casey Patterson.
They're going to call a timeout. The Americans settle in, try to get some things working right now because they're starting to give away those bunches of points and they can't afford it.
My bad. Great set.
Casey Patterson says, my bad, great set. So positive communication here by the Americans.
Well, Pedro Salgado on screen there, and his teammate Evandro. They've already won on the Swatch Beach Volleyball Major Series this season, round 2 of 4 in Stavanger, Norway. Delighted to come away with a bronze medal at the recent FIVB World Championships in The Hague, Holland. This is a very tough match for the Brazilians, and a real test now for the Americans to keep their calm, keep their composure. No question, Jake Gibb at the moment is the man of the match at the net. But with the big man from Brazil serving, Evandro, with this super powerful and fast jump serve and topspin on the ball, it's causing problems for the Americans. Oh, it's long. Set point for the USA.
No, they called it.
Oh, they called it in.
They called it touch. Touch on Jake Gibb as he blocked, and they knew it right away. The line judge called it immediately. No argument from the Americans.
Heat's on here now. I thought that was good for the Americans. Not the case. Brazil with service, and another terrific service from Evandro. Patterson on the attack. Pedro Salgado sets for... Oh, and there he is. Block number 10 for Jake Gibb. To keep America in the match.
So impressive, the serve by Evandro. And Evandro learned that Casey Patterson's hitting pattern. He makes a great defensive play on that one, gets the ball up in the air, but then Jake Gibb says, what about my block? You got to get past my block if you're going to finish off this point. And Jake Gibb prevents it.
Now, can Jake Gibb give the Americans just one more point, and they have leveled the match here? Oh, no. Still another chance for Team USA. Second set point for the Americans with Brazil in service. They really do need this side out, Dave.
Yeah, I believe the Americans have to receive serve and score here to extend this match.
Can Patterson finish it? Tip ball, yes he can! Well, Casey Patterson takes the last point, but it's the blocking of Jake Gibb that keeps Team USA in this match and takes it to a third set.
Here comes Jakes. He deceives, freezes Evandro on the backcourt, and by the time he hits that short shot, Evandro way too dug in to explode and get it. So the players will have a coin toss to see who wins and has choice between serve, receive, or choice of side. Remember how important it is in this third set. You only play to 15, so it's very quick. You switch on increments of 5 instead of 7, and it is going to be a battle. Remember, we saw these two teams play in Moscow, and it went 17-15 in the third set.
One set all. And as Dane has just pointed out, it's a bit of a sprint, the third set. Only to 15. So you need to kickstart with your aim game. There's very little room for error. I have to say, Casey Patterson will take a huge boost of confidence from getting that all-important side out in the last score of the second set. But Dane, for me, Jake Gibb has been the master blocker so far in this match.
Yeah, anytime you get double-digit blocks, and we haven't even entered the third set, so just 2 sets of volleyball, and he has 10 stuff blocks. I'm surprised the Americans haven't won this in 2 straight, because when you have a blocker dominate that much at the net, usually it's sheer domination. I'll tell you what, the team that's going to win this third set is the team that lays their emotions on the line and gets the crowd behind them.
Pedro Salgado looks for the first point for Brazil, goes cross-court with a left-hand spike and does it with great style.
See him trying to get the crowd involved. He's yelling, he's screaming, he's pumping his fist. Look at how pumped up he is. That's what Pedro Salgado wants to do. Get the crowd behind him so he can have that emotional lift.
These power serves from Evandro really are making life difficult for the American duo. Here he is again, Evandro. Oh, this time sends it into the net. Levels the scores at a 1 apiece. Side out for the USA. America will serve. Casey Patterson with the ball in hand. Oh, and for the first time, perhaps in the whole of the match, Jake Gibb was unable to stop that attack from Evandro.
Really solid hit by Evandro right there. Instead of going low where he's been blocked, he decides to hit that ball higher, and he gets the kill.
A little bit of a joust at the net, but America come out on top to tie the scores at 2 apiece.
Nice joust, a lot of simultaneous contact there. It looked like Evandro wanted an open hand violation, but there it is. Casey comes in with the open hand, and it looks like he's trying to push it. Evandro might have an argument there. You cannot open hand and push that ball. It has to be simultaneous contact if you approach it with an open hand.
The referee's going with his decision, gives the point to the United States of America. Gibb serves. Pedro Salgado on the attack for Brazil. Just a little touch of the ball from the American. Gibb gives out Brazil a 3-2 point advantage. And of course, we now side switch at 5 rather than 7 in this third set that only needs to go to 15 if a team can stay 2 points clear.
This is no surprise to me that these two teams match up extremely well, that we're in the third set.
It's almost like the final rather than the round of 16. Here he goes again, Evandro, with that big power jump serve. It's a little too deep and long on court. It allows the Americans to side out, level the scores at 3-all.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see these two great teams the #2 team versus the #4 team going against one another in the round of 16. Unfortunately, one of them will advance and one will be headed home. But you're absolutely right, Nick. I mean, this feels like a final, the way the players are landed on the line and the caliber of play.
Pedro Salgado with service for Brazil. Gibb sets for Patterson. Patterson on the attack. Evandro is there at the net. Evandro not this time. Pedro Salgado with a great save. Looks to finish it for Brazil. Tip ball. There he is again. Gibb at the net. Needs to be there for a second time. That's off his head. Oh, and he's furious.
That happens when you're a great blocker. You're going to take some balls off your face, off your head. Jake Gibb had no idea where that ball ricocheted. But here's a look at it. The great play, keeping it in. The dig by Salgado. And here's the block where Jake Gibb ends up taking this off the head as Evandro blasts it so high, so hard. Look at the confusion. Where is that ball?
Pedro Salgado continues with serve, just gets it over the net. Little help from the tape. Patterson. Oh, a great shot here. Doesn't want to risk the ball being out. Patterson for a second time of asking. This time a little more finesse. Rolls the ball over the top of Evandro.
That's what I love about Patterson. There's a question, would that ball be in? He gets the dribbler serve, hits it. Pedro digs that ball over. This one's close. Looks like it might go out, but he's not sure, so he plays it. You're always told to play the close ones. If you're not sure, then you control your own fate. The follow-through roll shot by Patterson, he's starting to feel it.
Jake Gibb serves for the USA, trailing the Brazilians by 1. Pedro Salgado up at the net. Again with Jake Gibb, and again Jake Gibb. Great work to level the scores at 5-all.
Block number 11 for Jake Gibb. We just keep racking them up. Look at him get up high, press it back into the court. Salgado's got nowhere to go, and Jake Gibb just feeling it as he's owning the net.
39-year-old from Costa Mesa, California, with service. I think such a great game with his block. Oh, but this time it's a great shot from Evandro. This time going to Casey Patterson and drills it right to the feet of his counterpart.
Very powerful hit by Evandro. Imagine he's just 24 years old. He's got such an upside. He's still raw. He's got so much potential to be reached as he gets better and better each and every time he steps on the sand.
Patterson sets the ball up for Jake Gibb. There's no choice but to go for the little tip ball. Here's Evandro. That's way too long. Referee gives the Americans the point. 6-all. Remember, we're only heading to 15, not 21 in this third set. This still could go either team's way.
Looks like the Americans wanted a net call midway through that rally, but nonetheless, the Brazilians hit it out.
Pedro Salgado misjudges that one, and if anything else, he just gets a little concerned by that faint block by Gibb. Here it is again.
Yeah, that's just a direct cause of Jake Gibb. As you see, a great angle of these players getting up in the air, but Jake Gibb's presence right now is being felt at the net.
Evandro. Oh, he's there again! Is that number 12?
12 blocks for Jake Gibb. You got that right. He's feeling it. He is keeping the Americans in play here and in control in this third, giving them the slight advantage. But Evandro and Pedro have not had an answer for Jake Gibb. Maybe they'll learn they have to shoot around Jake Gibb and maybe test the defense of Patterson. If they continue to try to go through him, they are going to continue to pay.
Great work from Gibb, the oldest player on the court. 39 years of age, Jake Gibb, to the 29 years of age to Pedro Salgado. His teammate Casey Patterson at 35 years of age. Experienced players, these two Americans. They've been round the block, as we say in English, a few times in their career. And the talented young Evandro at just 24 years of age, not only looking for the Rio Olympics in 2016, well, we could see him in Tokyo in 2020 and see him again in 2024 if he keeps playing and can stay injury-free with his career. like he does at the moment, but I think it's the experience, particularly the experience of Jake Gibb, that's keeping the Americans in this match.
Well, I don't know if this is a record. I would imagine it is a record for Jake Gibb. 12 stuff blocks in one match. It's just incredible, the blocking exhibition that he's putting on.
Patterson serves. Evandro sets Pedro Salgado up at the net, and Brazil get a very important point back there.
Yeah, every ball that the Brazilians get past Jake Gibb, they should be celebrating right now, because he has had an absolute field day at the net, controlling the block and really putting it back on the Brazilians.
Now, Pedro Salgado serves for Brazil. Casey Patterson looks to take the Americans too clear, but this time a lesson in blocking from the Brazilians, and the big man Evandro, 6'11". Look how high he jumps here.
Just to give you a comparison, that's the Brazilians' third block on the match. Remember, Jake Gibb has 12.
Oh, good from Patterson, and that's what the Americans need to do. Jake Gibb is owning the net, but they need all of the shots, all of the skills on the beach to defeat these Brazilians here. Of course, the Brazilians are the #2 seeds, the Americans the #4 seeds, and he still could go either team's way, but this is Casey Patterson down the alley, great spike, putting the Americans back into the lead. Gibb with service for the USA. There's another power play from Evandro.
We haven't seen that option executed a lot by Brazilians, going on the second contact. Pedro really teeing up his partner Evandro. Evandro with that athleticism and that 6'11" frame come in and make the United States pay.
And it is Evandro with service. Gibb sets it up for Patterson, reads the ball, reads the timing of the shot perfectly, maintaining the Americans' lead at 10-9.
Americans run a back set here, try to move the blocker laterally and get him out of position, and it works to perfection.
Oh, Patterson's serve brave, but just a little too long. Well left by the Brazilians.
Well, that's what it's going to take. I said at the onset of this third set that the team that really gets the crowd behind them would have the edge. That hasn't really happened for either team. So down the stretch right now, it's the team that is going to be more aggressive, especially from the service line. I don't think a float serve by Pedro is going to be that effective.
Here's Patterson now. Oh, what a great shot. Hanging in the air, Evandro, but he still spots the gap and puts it exactly where he wants that ball to be.
High risk, high reward shot, but the problem, the Brazilians basically gave the Americans a free ball on that serve reception. Let's see if the Americans are any more aggressive.
Float serve to Evandro from Jake Gibb. Pedro Salgado sets it up for almost an identical play, but this time Brazil to America. 11-11.
Some powerful, aggressive hits here in the clutch in the third set. I think the serving on both ends has been a little soft, a little weak, but Evandro is the one player who's really bringing it from that service line every time.
Here he is again with this big, powerful topspin jump serve. And the referee and the linesman keep their flags down. This is exactly what he did in the first set, just when the heat was on. Started picking off the aces, and this is a spectacular ace from Evandro.
Yeah, he just completely beats the Americans to the punch. They're frozen. They don't have time to move. He's hitting it with such velocity.
Oh, and almost a second. Oh, great shot from Casey Patterson. Took his time, read the court, placed the shot perfectly.
That's exactly what the Americans need. Patterson gets outside, he gets good elevation, and then the Brazilians a bit out of defensive set, and that line is wide open.
All square at 12-all. Casey Patterson serves. Into the net. Gives the advantage to Brazil. Side switch at 13-12.
Yeah, I think Patterson, I like the fact that he's going for it right there, but right now at this point the pressure's high. You have to keep that ball in bounds.
Anybody's match for the taking. Pedro Salgado with service for Brazil. Floats the ball to Patterson. Gibb sets for his teammate. Oh, and Salgado caught out of position, trying to scamper backwards to defend. All a little too late, allows the Americans to level the score.
Nice play. When you're going to run a fake block like that and try to drop off the net, you have to get to the spot quickly, and you have to stop if you're going to make that play.
Here's Gibb with service. Pedro Salgado on the attack for Brazil. Gibb is there again! Oh! A beautiful block gives the Americans match point.
Wow, wouldn't this be something special? I mean, are you kidding me? Jake Gibb has 13 stuff blocks. He has controlled the net, and now he's got that opportunity. You can see the little pep in his step. He wants to close it out right now.
Ooh, all level at 14 all. Still got to be 2 points clear, remember. This is exactly how it went in the Moscow Grand Slam, but the Brazilians came out on top. Here's a chance for America to get sweet revenge. But first thing on the menu is to try and stop this massive serve from Evandro. Oh, that's unlucky. A huge piece of lady luck for the Brazilians gives them the 15-14 advantage, and now it's match point with Brazil.
It's tough. He's going for it, so you have to commit, and then all of a sudden the ball hits the top of the net, which is still a live ball and almost impossible for Jake Gibb to switch direction.
Oh, he doesn't get it for a second time of asking. Now, have the Brazilians used up all of their luck? It's 15 all. A chance for America to rebuild their strike for this round of 16 match. As Dana's already pointed out, the winners go through to the quarterfinals. The losers are on the plane home. Casey Patterson serves for the USA. The Brazilians are out of position here. Oh, but even so, that height, that power, that skill of Evandro gives Brazil match point again.
It's really unbelievable how these two teams are battling, but remember, it's Evandro getting the points from that serving position for the Brazilians, and Jake Gibb getting those blocking points for the Americans.
Oh, it's all over, and this time the block comes from Pedro Salgado. Least expected player on the court, wins it for Brazil. The #2 seeds go through to the quarterfinals, putting Jake Gibb and Casey Patterson of the United States of America out of the competition, taking it right to the wire, but just making good in the closing moments of the third set. Spectacular play from both teams. Amazing blocks from Jake Gibb, but not quite enough to give the Americans the win. And the winners of the last